What will survive 2020 but won't be nearly as popular? Toilet paper. Bidets see their chance in the US market. This is the beginning of the rise of the 3 seashells. Any lifestyle change people were forced to make because they were quarantined. Washing their hands frequently, maintaining ample distance in public, cooking more for themselves instead of takeout, all that will be pissed away once things return to normal, because we as humans think they were weird to do. They were only done in tense times, and we can go back to socializing, partying, and not giving a damn about tomorrow. No, I'm a changed person. I'll continue washing my hands like a surgeon and often. How long does it take to form a habit? Like 1 to 3 months? Anyone who's been washing their hands frequently isn't likely to stop once it becomes habitual. Coronavirus memes. Or, like any 2020 memes in general, memes die ridiculously fast. The real answer is anti-vaxxers. You have an overly optimistic view of irrational people, I think. The prank YouTube channels. We can only hope. Corona prank gone wrong, gone sexual. To be fair though, there's a couple of good-natured prank videos on that site that were absolutely hilarious. Like the drive-thru skeleton pranks by Magic of Rahat. For most people, it's washing your hands. Unfortunately, I think you're right. Even without coronavirus, there's all kinds of other nasty diseases that people could avoid spreading if they just keep their grubby little mitts a bit less grubby. Essential workers. This is the real answer. Sad but true, everyone forgets by the moment this is over, no real actions will be taken. People applaud at 9 in the evening to pay their respects or put a candle for 24 hours as their profile picture to ease their conscience, thinking they have done something. But nothing happens even now. Not taking a walk with your entire family. I have never seen as many families going on walks as I have since this whole thing started. Taking walks, jogging, driving their bike, here it feels like countless people have started to exercise. Of course, to be fair, it could easily be the case that those are the people that previously simply went to the gym, which is why you didn't see them outside. Buffet restaurants. I could imagine the food being behind glass panels and an employee putting it on your plate, becoming much more common. Might bump up costs a little though, so the cheap buffet restaurants may struggle. Cruises. For what it's worth, cruise ships have always been incubators for creeping crud. I've been on 20 plus cruises over the years and caught colds on a third of them. Why MMV, of course. Going into the office to work. Going into the office to work. More on this, plenty of companies have remote employees, but very few of them have built a remote culture to ensure their success. Often the failure of remote employees is really a failure of the company to develop a remote culture that keeps remote employees plugged in, informed, and productive. What we're seeing right now is a nationwide effort by companies to solve their remote culture problem, now that it's a matter of survival. Handshakes. Dude, I'm client-facing, and I feel so rude not shaking hands, so I always make a joke about it, and I'm getting so many responses. Some just laugh, others offer forward an elbow. One tapped my foot with his. Another, air high five. But my favorite had to be the Japanese thing. My coworker started that, and it's catching on with the whole team. Sharing beverages. I'm worried about movie theaters. They've been struggling for a while, and with them losing so much revenue and companies doing early home releases now, I'm worried they will be a thing of the past in a few years. Which makes me sad because I love going to the movies. It's the only extroverted thing I do. Like, why even date if we can't go see a movie? The Supreme Court overturned an old law recently, what means movie studios can now buy their own theaters. Once all the independent theaters die during this, Disney and Universal are going to make their own, and then they can do whatever they want. Coughing. Coughing is going to be frowned upon for a very long time. Not sure coughing was very popular. GameStop. I doubt it'll survive. Maybe the stores might get bought out by someone else with a name kept, but the current GameStop as we know it, it is done. Businesses, large and small, that took actions the internet population deemed wrong during COVID. I won't get into. No need. Coronavirus. I'm not joking. LOL. It'll survive 2020, but not killing as many people makes it less popular. Yeah, to be fair, not every coronavirus is this coronavirus. There are many of them flying around for a long time before this happened. Air travel. The more companies see how much they can do with virtual meetings and such, the more they can decide that this can be a huge money saver when things get better. I get this, and I think it'll be true in some cases. However, I think in the majority of cases, this will just highlight the limitations of remote meetings for many people. Makeup. I don't know that I'm going to go back to clogging my skin with foundation after going so long without. Home time. Celebrities. This crisis has shown the world just how insignificant most of them are. I can't get over that Imagine music video. Thing is, at least with Gal Gadot anyway, I can see that for a lot of people, their involvement might actually have been carried out with the best of intentions. They actually thought they would help by doing this. That if the poor masses could only see them, the wonderful celebrities, standing in their gigantic gardens and mansions and singing a song about hope with zero relation to the current pandemic at all, that they would be inspired out of difficulty. Like, no, you earn millions of dollars and about having to get locked inside your huge house with your private pool? Donate some money to hospitals and food banks, JFC. Making fun of preppers. I don't think anyone's really made fun of the sensible preppers who keep a couple of extra months' worth of food. It's the nutcases with a SWAT arsenal, a custom fallout shelter, and years' worth of supplies. Treating retail employees, especially grocery store and restaurant workers, like garbage. Obviously, there will still be those guys who keep doing that, but hopefully the majority of people will learn a lesson and treat these employees much better. You far underestimate the hell that is retail. I give it 1 week of respect for retail workers before the storm comes back in. Uber Eats. Normally it's so expensive, but with them waiving delivery fees and nobody wanting to go in, public people will overeat there and ruin appetite forever. On a similar note, I think Zoom is going to be the MySpace BlackBerry of video conferencing. I suspect another company will sweep in after all this. Maybe finding a way to make it a bit more professional. Maybe just make it feel different. Movie theaters. Man, I can't wait to hit the big screen and sit in one of the puffy reclining chairs again. Same. I really enjoy going to the movies. Staying home. Possibly living alone too. I'm living alone right now, hours away from my family, and oh man, I was fine when I saw my coworkers every day, but I still missed my family. The last few weeks have been so very bad. I haven't talked in person to someone in a week. I know that has to be hard. I worked in the office alone for half a week and was so grateful I had one person at home after spending all day alone with no human interaction. Hang in there. Face masks. I kinda hope the opposite, and that the Western countries will be more socially accepting of masks moving forward. Me too, as it perfectly and ironically coincides with the rise facial recognition and anti-mask laws. The N95 surgical mask is our savior. Gym memberships. A lot of people have bought their own equipment to set up home gyms now that their gyms are closed, and maybe even following some remote programming. Many will realize they live the convenience of working out at home, and it will save them money in the long run. Doing business with China. I wish this would show businesses all over the world that depending on a single country for so much of your labor just because it's cheap is a bad idea and leaves you vulnerable to all sorts of risks, and that investing in the local market is a better idea that helps everyone. But nah, most businesses are run by cheap guys who will save every penny they can on labor costs so their CEOs and shareholders can make unholy amounts of money. Air travel. Probably social media in general. Before it was already getting pretty bad, but you at least had an escape from it. Now, you're forced to use it non-stop. When people have something shoved down their throats, They get tired of it really fast. Physical contact, though, that's going to have a huge surge after this. You take something away from people and tell them not to do it, they're going to want to do it even more. Though I suspect people are going to have to learn to actually socialize in person again after this too. Who's forcing you to use it nonstop? If you're stuck inside, you have to use the internet or phone calls if you desire to maintain the relationships you have with your friends and family who don't live with you. Since the general public predominantly uses social media for those purposes, it can certainly feel like you have to also excessively participate in social media to not become totally isolated. Cheek kisses in countries where they greet with cheek kisses. For-profit health insurance. This will convince people? You're very hopeful for the future of America. High fives. Letting someone taste your beer in a group of pals. Comfort in your 401k. Comfort in your 401k. Depends on your age. Younger working people shouldn't worry. The market will correct and survive. Older folks who are planning to retire shortly, are already retired, may have to make some changes. It's like the last financial crisis in that sense. China. Don't underestimate Chinese influence, though. This is a perfect moment for them to aggressively push and control the narrative that they are the model state when every nation is struggling to prepare for the inevitable. Their efforts are starting to pay off in Italy already. Definitely COVID-19. The Republican current approach to healthcare, which is currently working this whole epidemic, has shaken the country, started a worldwide discussion, and universal healthcare in the US may be a side effect for better or worse, depending on who one may be. It's not going to be the same for at least 4 to 12 years, until we forget and go back to the way it was back in December of 2019, either by new administration or other things. Corporations, jobs. I think people will be very distrusting of corporations given how many people they have laid off in the past month. Plus, the fact that health insurance is tied to your job, and given that so many people now neither will rub a lot of people the wrong way. It's an external sign of an ugly idea we've collectively internalized, that the human right to life is something we have to earn.